Greetings one and all from the Holy Land and the Holy City, Alon Moreshchem, close by my holy yeshiva. Yes, we are on the 14th day of the month of Av, 5784, and I'm pretty sure, can't promise, but I think this will be the part 7 and finale, the grand finale of our humble series on Christianity and Judaism. With God's help, as always, this class is for the sake of heaven. We should be able to remove the divine presence from the exile. A shout out to our sponsor, our great sponsor, Mike, and all of the volunteers that do amazing things all over Israel, all over the world, and also to the outstanding, a shout out to our outstanding blog, the one and only Palm Tree of Deborah. Check it out when you have a lot of time. Okay, continuing on our 28 hit list. Okay, we're up to number 15. The commentator on Jewish law, the Machzit HaShekel, was Rabbi Shmuel Alevi Keelan. He lived from 1724 to 1806. In his commentary on Jewish law, Orach Chaim 156.2, Trinity is foreign worshiping. Tosfot was only talking about permitting an oath for a Gentile with partnership alongside God. Next, question and answers to the Shoel Umeshiv was Rabbi Yosef Shaul Natanson, lived in the Ukraine, 1810 to 1875. He brings proof from the Talmud tractate of Sanhedrin, 74b. Talmud discusses, the Talmud discussion is whether or not a Gentile has to give up his or her life to observe the 7 C's, 7 commandments of Noah. Of course, of the 7 commandments of Noah, the number 1, the gold medal of a Gentile is foreign worshiping, avodah zarah. That's the gold medal of the 7. So Rabbi Nathanson says, if a Gentile is allowed to worship God with another deity, why is there a discussion in the Talmud whether a Gentile has to give his life to observe the 7 commandments of Noah or not? If he's allowed to worship God and other deities, so he would never be challenged to be put in a situation where he would have to give his life, because of course he would just worship God and other deities, and for him that's fine. He would never have to give up his life. So if there's a discussion in the Talmud whether you have to give up your life or not, and so therefore the base of the discussion has to be that a Gentile is not allowed to worship God and other deities. Because if he was able to worship God and other deities, there would never be a question whether he has to give up his life. Of course he doesn't have to give up his life. He can just continue worshiping God and other deities. He can accept the foreign gods that are being coerced upon him. And that's not a problem for a Gentile. But we see it is a problem for a Gentile. And therefore there's a discussion whether they have to give their lives or not. 17. The famous Minchat Elazar, Rabbi Chaim Elazar Shapira, 1871 to 1937, Volume 1, Question 53. He brings down 3 Talmudic passages that prove it is forbidden for a Gentile to worship God via the Trinity. He brings down 3 sources. 1, Tosfot in the Tractate of Avodah Zarah, page 2, side A. The Tractate of number 2. Source number 2 he brings in the Tractate of Avodah Zarah, page 6, side A. Last but not least, in the Tractate of Megillah, page 9, side B. That one we will look at. There is the 72 sages that translated the Torah, what's better known as the Septuagint, I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, Septuagint, there were 13 verses in the Torah that all these 72 scholars changed the same words in 13 different places, a miraculous intervention by God. So one of those verses they changed with the following. The verse in Deuteronomy of 4:19, which talks about not following, not going and worshiping the stars, the moon, the sun. That verse was changed in order that the Torah should not be misunderstood. This verse was changed so that they would not think that God gave over to us, the world, the luminaries, in order to worship and honor them. Therefore, they said that God created the luminaries in order to give us light. So this was changed. So the Minchat El-Azhar says very clearly, if it's permissible for a Gentile to worship God in partnership with other forces, cosmic or whatever they might be, so why would they have to change this verse to be perhaps misunderstood that you could worship the stars, the sun, and the moon? But it's permissible. If it's permissible for a Gentile to worship in partnership God and the moon and the stars and the sun, so therefore there would be no need to change the verse. The verse was changed in order that Gentiles do not make the mistake and worship God in partnership with other cosmic forces. Very, very strong proof there. Number 18, in the book Shilat David, Rabbi David Friedman, 1828 to 1915, on his commentary on the tractate Bechorot, page 2, side B. There are many that are mistaken, that have taken the Tosfot words out of context and permitted shitu, partnership, to non-Jews. Chazon Ish, an amazing Chazon Ish. Chazon Ish was Rabbi Avram Yeshaya Karlitz. He lived in 1878 till 1953 in the land of Israel. In his commentary on Yoredea 22:22, he really hits it out of the ballpark, big time. He writes the following. To listen to these words a couple of times, go over them. To worship a spirit, a nefesh, of a creation, even though they have passed away, this is foreign worship, since the nefesh, the spirit, is still around in the above worlds till the end of times, when, or the end of days, when it will be fully judged, come judgment day. An amazing Chazon Ish. You are not, we are not, no one is allowed to worship a person, even though they passed away. Whether they're alive or they passed away, we're not allowed to worship human beings, alive or dead. Why not when they're dead? Because of the fact that their spirit exists, continues to exist in the heavenly worlds until the final judgment day. Every year on the Jewish New Year, Rosh Hashanah, we have a judgment day, but it's not the big final judgment day. Totally different type, a totally different type of a judicial process on these two timetables, totally different time zones. So therefore, Chazon Ish speaks about that we know that there are 36 types of sins, one of them being foreign worshiping, that a person is, so to speak, cut off, receives karet, 36 types of sins. One of them, the big one, the bigger one is foreign worshiping. So therefore, a person, there are 3 types of being cut off. The Nachmanides and Rabbeinu Yonah speak extensively about this. Look it up in Leviticus chapter 18, verse 29. He brings down 3 different types of karet. Of course, the most severe is, of course, for somebody that worships foreign worships. Then the expression in Numbers 15:31, look it up. It doesn't say cut off once, it says twice. For foreign worshiping, it's twice. It's also in this world, a person's days are limited, a person's days are cut off, reduced, but also for eternity. That spirit continues to, instead we always, the rip, rest in peace. There ain't no rest in peace here. For these type of foreign worshipers, there ain't no rest in peace. There is no, even hell is a type of rest to receive punishment, to be cleansed, and finally be able to be transferred to the wing of the world to come, of heaven. But for those that do foreign worship, their spirits are cut off and they are without, so to speak, any home. They are not grounded anywhere until the day of the judgment, where they will receive their deserved punishment. Okay. 20. Rabbi Yaakov Emden. He was Rabbi Yaakov Ashkenazi. He lived in Germany 1697 to 1776. In his book, Mor Ktsia, paragraph 224. Amazing idea. He says, listen to this one. Outside the land of Israel, partnership, God and other forces are allowed for a Gentile. However, not in the land of Israel. In the land of Israel, we have a deck, we say in Deuteronomy, so to speak, God's eyes, control, are in this land from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. There is no room. Outside the land of Israel, it even talks about, the Talmud talks about the fact that Jews outside the land of Israel are likened to foreign worshipers. Very interesting. Why is that? Because that's exactly what they're doing. They're worshiping God in a partnership with other foreign powers, deities. That is an amazing take by Rabbi Yaakov Emden. There's a difference. The commentators that spoke about permitting partnership for a Gentile were only talking about Chutz La'aretz, about outside the land of Israel, not inside the land of Israel. That for sure for a Gentile is not permissible. And therefore Jews that are living outside the land of Israel, where it is permissible to worship God and foreign powers, that's exactly what they're doing by the fact that they're living there. Whoa, take it to the limit. But there's even an additional angle of Rabbi Yaakov Emden. Amazing, listen to this. There appears to be a contradiction in 2 sources by Rabbi Yaakov Emden. In a book titled Kitzur Tzitzit Novel Tzvi by Yaakov Sasportis, who lived in between the year 1610 and 1698. In this book, where it's a 4-volume work that Rabbi Yaakov Sasportis dealt with false messiahs over the generations. This was condensed, this 4-volume work on false messiahs was condensed by Rabbi Yaakov Emden. And on page 22b, he agrees with Rabbi Sesportis that Gentiles cannot worship God with partnership. On the other hand, in his book Moruktzia 124, Rabbi Emden commented that they are allowed to worship God in partnership. How do we reconcile this seemingly contradiction? For this, we need a third source. This is a book by Rabbi Yaakov Emden. It's called Shilat Yavetz, Volume 1, Question 41. The partnership that is permitted is when a person knows God created all by himself, yet believes it's God's will to worship and honor the various powers of the world, galaxies and sun. However, Christianity is not partnership, rather it's foreign worship. Whoa, TKO, technical knockout. I'm going to read that again. The partnership that is permissible is when a person knows that God created all by himself, no other powers, yet believes that it is God's will to worship and honor the various powers, cosmic, the sun, the moon, and the stars. Very simple to what Maimonides, similar to what Maimonides wrote about the mistake in the time of Enoch. That they believed that this was God's will to honor those that honor God. However, he writes in black and white that Christianity is not shituv, it's not partnership. It is foreign worship. The Maritz Chiyut, Rabbi Tzvi Hirsch Chayet, or Chiyut, lived in 1805 to 1855 in Eastern Europe. Brings down in his book, Tiferet L'Yisrael, on page 490, the same idea. Later day authorities. Up until now, we were going for the earlier sources. Now, later day authorities in Jewish law. We'll start with the contemporary, the book Toldot Noah, pages 139 and 164, written by Rabbi Eliyahu Bracha of the land of Israel. He writes, Christianity, including Protestants, are foreign worshippers. 23, in the book Or HaHalacha, on page 30, by Rabbi Ben Sion Abba Shaul of Jerusalem, who lived from 1924 to 1998. The Christians are foreign worshippers and will in the future be uprooted from the world. Pretty harsh words from Rabbi Ben Sion Abba Shaul. 24, Rabbi Yehuda Gershoni, otherwise known as the Brilliant One from Grudner in Europe. He lived from 1908 to 2000 in a book titled Kol Sofayich on page 333. Christianity is Avodah Zarah, foreign worship. 25, Rabbi Chaim Vidal, not to be confused with Rabbi Chaim Vital. He was the head of the religious court of Netanya. The majority of Jewish law codifiers agree that non-Jews are not allowed to worship God in partnership. Therefore, the Christians are foreign worshippers. This could be found in the book Sharei Tzedek, volume 18, page 260. Source number 26, none other than the encyclopedia of the Talmud itself. Summed the subject up like this, page 350 Volume 3. Most of the later day opinions agree that it is forbidden for a non-Jew to worship God via partnership. Rabbi Avram Yitzchak Kook, in question and answers by Rav Dov Lior, titled Dvar Chevron, Yoradea. Second question, third answer. He writes there in two different places, quoting Rabbi Avram Yitzchak Kook. He was asked, is it permissible to take donations, assistance from Christians? And he writes that one should not accept any assistance, financially or otherwise, for any, whatever the goal might be, whatever reasons they might be. The reasons why Christians assist Jews because of their belief that and when the time is ripe, when the time comes, in the end of days, this will bring the Jewish people to believe in JC. It's written in Rav Kook in his letters, volume 4, pages 74 to 75, and also in his letters, volume 1, 61, that even to accept, there was a pharmacy in Jerusalem, but run by Christians, that gave discount rates to Jews on medical supplies. And we must remember that Rav Kook is talking about a time where there was a tremendous famine for the Jews. The Jews were terrible financially, they were in a terrible predicament. Even so, he told them, it is forbidden even to take medication for sick people. It is forbidden to receive for them. If a non-Jew wants to donate, contribute, not because of religious beliefs, but just out of love of the Jewish people, not Christian, not religious, okay, there is not, it's not forbidden to receive for them. So once again, any Gentile that has religious beliefs, stay away from those types of people. If a person is just a non-Jew and he wants to help out the Jewish people, he has no religious connections, no religious beliefs, that would be permissible. So that's the grand finale. Our 28th source is really, really amazing. The head of the Eidah Haredit, Rabbi Moshe Sternbach, in his books, Tshuvot Ve'anagot, 3rd volume, Yoradea, question 317. Assuming Christianity is not foreign worshiping, can we make efforts to influence Christians to observe the other 6 commandments? Very practical question here. Should we be sending messengers and groups and organizations to try to convince the Gentiles to perform the last 6? Once again, the base of the question is assuming Christianity is not foreign worship. Here is the amazing answer of Rabbi Moshe Sternbach. The answer is that regarding Christianity, there is a serious, harsh prohibition. Christianity is not like a couple of Jewish law authorities claimed a type of partnership which is permitted. Rather, it is the pinnacle of foreign worship. Amazing. Rabbi Moshe Sternbach calls the other side that allows this partnership, he calls them a couple of Jewish law authorities that permit shituf, permit Gentiles to worship God and other powers. It is the pinnacle, Christianity is the pinnacle of Avodah Zarah, of foreign worship. They humanize God, calling him the Son. And there is no greater Avodah Zarah, foreign worship, than Christianity. This is brought down in the book Hagot Maimoniyot, written by Rabbi Meir Hakon of Rottenburg, the cousin of the famous Rabbi Meir Rottenburg, who sat in prison when he was captured in order to have the Jews redeem him for a large sum of money. He lived during the years 1260 and 1298. In the end of chapter 5 of the laws of Avodah Zarah. Also, Rabbi Sternbach brings down the words of the Gra in the uncensored version. Gra, Rabbi Eliyahu of Vilna, lived from 1720 to 1797 in Russia. There is no greater prohibition of other gods like Christianity. That is in his commentary, the Gra's commentary to Yoredea, chapter 147, law 3. There is no greater prohibition of other gods, Elohim Acherim, like Christianity. We cannot back to Rabbi Sternbach. We cannot mislead Christians into believing that Christianity is okay when it is really foreign worship. Therefore, we have never seen our ancestors trying to influence the Christians throughout our history. The Khatam Sofer explains in his commentary on Yoredea, volume 2, chapter 112, there were nations that despised foreign worshiping, that they were accustomed to worshiping and they despised. And therefore they began to believe, on one hand, in one God. However, on the other hand, they had many, many beliefs that are heretical and are worse and more contaminating than all the others. So the Khatam Sofer talks about this process that evolved over the generations, where people began to despise their type of foreign worship, and they started going into the direction of belief in one God. However, along with the belief in one God, they had many, many heretical beliefs that went along with it, like this partnerships, which are worse and more contaminating than all the others. Rabbi Sternbach continues to quote Tractate Bava Batra, page 10, side B. When the Gentiles will lose their merits, they will be broken. Following this logic, says Rabbi Moshe, we should not try to add to the merits of Christians. Therefore today, since they do not fill the 7 commandments of Noah, their fall should be soon. Jonah was an exception to the rule when he was sent to the Gentiles to repent. That was an exception to the rule. But us, Jews, over the generations, we have no responsibility to go out and convince the Gentiles, especially to lie to them that they only have to perfect 6 commandments because they already believe in God. No. Their base, their source, their foundation is foreign worship. So in order to dry up their source, you don't want to give them merit, you want to dry up their source. So we must remember that by not giving them merit, speeds their fall and expedites our redemption. And we do not want to cause a situation where, look at the Gentiles, we're running after Gentiles in order to convince them to practice the 7 laws of Noah, when there's Jews that are totally assimilated. That will cause a boomerang effect against the Jews, cause prosecution, what we call a kitrug, against the Jewish people. So we have to keep way a distance from that. Okay, one may argue that, okay, the Christians, they worship their services of foreign worship. So let's assist them with their other 6. Rabbi Moshe Sternbach says this is ludicrous. The main commandment of a Gentile is, out of all the 7, the pinnacle is foreign worship. If they transgress the commandment of foreign worshiping, all other commandments have no value. Hit it out of the park. We have no responsibility to convince Gentiles to leave their foreign worship, unlike our responsibility for other Jews. That is the harsh words of Rabbi Moshe Sternbach, the head of the Eidah Haredit, in his book Anagot and Shuvot, and Answers. So with that, if you were thinking about going out and convincing the Gentiles for the 7 commandments of Noah, rethink that. Take care.